Venezuela's once comatose oil industry has been stirring lately, and so has a black market in some states for domestic gasoline that is now a cheaper alternative than fuel smuggled over the border from Colombia. Venezuela sits on some of the world's biggest oil reserves, yet there have been fuel shortages throughout the country for years due to US sanctions and years of mismanagement. In recent years, severe scarcity prompted President Nicolas Maduro's government to impose rationing and dollar-based retail sales to curb QEs at fuel stations, which stretched for hours or days. In the western state of Táchira on Venezuela's border with Colombia, a black market of gasoline smuggled from the neighboring country still strives. Filling plastic soda bottles, smugglers sell it to taxis, motorcycles, and truck drivers willing to pay the price. In the years before the near collapse of Venezuela's fuel industry, criminal groups on both sides of the border trafficked heavily subsidized gasoline produced by Venezuelan state oil company PDVSA. For decades, the world's cheapest, into Colombia, where prices have historically been higher. But as Venezuela's diminished refining network has been making steps towards recovery, domestic gasoline in other states is starting to compete with smuggled Colombian fuel. This month, refinery workers and sources told Reuters that Venezuela's gasoline output had briefly approached 160,000 barrels per day, up from 82,000 barrels per day in December. Further north along the border, Colombian gasoline is beginning to fall out of favor, with enterprising locals looking to take advantage of access to limited quantities of Venezuelan fuel that is still subsidized in areas where gasoline is sold in a local currency. Black market gasoline salesmen in Zulia have been teaming up with people who have access to monthly quotes of liters of fuel under the highest subsidy. Maduro's government has announced a crackdown on fuel detours from PDVSA's refineries and illegal sales at stations, which are barely covering demand. Authorities have publicly criticized the practice. Last week, Venezuela's oil minister Tariq al-Assimi said 3 Venezuelan men were arrested trying to smuggle stolen gasoline to Colombia. The Colombian smugglers had no knowledge of Venezuelan gasoline crossing the border, but said small volumes of diesel were making it through. However, people involved in the contraband said recent flow changes will not last.